My name is Lisa. I live here at Ananda Village. I started with Ananda Sacramento in 1992, and Tim and I met in the community there, and I'm just going to give a brief overview. We served there for many years, and then we moved to India to serve the work there with Swamiji, and we were there with him for about 3.5 years. And we came back to the village in 2010, so we've been here for 12 years. And we've had many incarnations here at the village. My latest incarnation is as a meditation group coordinator and also co-manager of the Temple of Light, and all the little things that we are always able to do here at the village, serving in so many ways that everybody does in addition to their main job or seva. There's always a lot of activity here at the village. As those of you who are familiar with it and familiar with Ananda Anywhere know, we have our official roles, and then we have all the things that we do together to make Master's message known to those who want to hear it. So I'll let Tim talk a little, and then or introduce himself, and then I'll talk a little this morning, and then he will also.
Yeah, so there's not much more to say. Moved up here in 1990, and then they opened up the community in Sacramento. I'm from Sacramento, born and raised, and went down there to help open that up. And we lived there for 20 years before going to India. And then the rest, Lisa said. We were in India, we were in Gurgaon. We started there working on the solar project for me with Dharna and Jamal. And then we transferred over to Pune, and then we started working on the land out there. And so I would go out there and run crews, because you don't really work in India, you run crews, because there's people that do that and need the work, and we employ them. And it was a great boon for the two villages that came and helped us build that community out there. And when Swami's house was done, Lisa and I felt guided that it was time to come back to the village. And when I landed here, I was manager of Master's Market, did that for a year. Got to know everybody that way. Everybody comes in the market. Got to have a real good experience and break in that way. And then went over to Property Services, where we do the maintenance all around the village. And then from there to the Temple of Light with Lisa, where we co-manage that and help out with Sunday service. I'm on the other side of the camera, and so this is very strange for me. And our mark consists of about 6 people. So I feel your pain, Mark. I understand what you're going through. You're one guy doing 6 people's worth of work. So congratulations, sir.
Oh, yes. It was actually such a joy to watch all of you. And when we first got the invitation, I told Tim, I said, go out and look at Dallas's website. I mean, we all hear about Dallas, but go out and look at their website and what these folks put out. And it's just always such a joy and such a treat to see you all doing what you do. I'm just sometimes floored at what a center can do. Just so much gratitude to be serving with such great souls. You know, Master said, I wanted to share a little quote of his. He said, "I will seek to make others truly happy in gratitude for the divine happiness thou hast given me. I will serve all through my spiritual happiness." And isn't that the truth? We have such joy. It's just such a mark of Master's teachings that we want to share that joy, share those teachings. I've been, as I'm sure many of us have been this month, taking time to focus more on gratitude. It's a month of gratitude. We have Thanksgiving, we have the holidays coming up, all of the energy of the inwardness of the season, also to just go within and cultivate more deeply those qualities that we want to focus on. And gratitude is such a large part of that for so many of us. And I can imagine the gratitude that each and every one of you is feeling with this expanded opportunity to serve once again, from going from your previous center being shut down to figuring out how to do it all online, and now this hybrid thing that we're all working with. And it's a big learning curve for so many of us. We just have never, who would have thought, 10 years ago that we'd be Zooming, but everybody has just moved forward with such commitment and such joy and such gratitude to be able to serve in this way. We did not get shut down from serving during the pandemic. We got creative, and I say all of us, all of Ananda, all of Master's disciples, we got creative. I think if we weren't able to serve, we would just sort of turn blue and expire. We wouldn't know what to do with ourselves. It's just, we need to serve. And so we got creative and we figured out how to do it. And now you're in this lovely new place. I want a tour. I want photos. I want to see what's going on, everything. It just brings me such joy to know that you are there and that we have these heartstrings between us, supporting each other, helping each other, being creative with how we serve and how we continue to conduct our inner lives. And gratitude, I think, it's been a rough few years, and it continues to be rough in the world around us. And sometimes that's very challenging. I know I'm not the only one who sometimes just the heartstrings get pulled outward. It's a rough world out there, and people are in pain. And we learn to turn that in and offer it up and see what we can do productively, creatively, expansively. So to have this next step where you're back in a center and can open, the doors are just flung open. Here we are, let's gather. And we're still able to serve online, which is wonderful. Now we know we just need that as part of our service. There are so many people who, for various reasons, maybe they can't come in person. Maybe they're not near a center or a colony. We can reach so many people, and we just have such gratitude for that, because there are thirsty souls out there, and we're doing what Master wants us to do and what Swamiji showed us how to do. He was that guiding light as to that balance between meditation and seva and serving others selflessly. When we're in gratitude, it's really more than, I have this habit lately of, before I get out of bed, of taking a few moments to say thank you. I know that's something many people do. Thank you for waking up is the obvious first one, especially the older we get. And then thank you for the day to come. And I try to find something that's going to happen in my day that I'm going to send gratitude to, that I'm able to do and to serve. And then we get up, we do our spiritual practices, we go through our day, and more gratitude becomes, if we cultivate it and we focus on it, it becomes more than just a thank you for waking up, for me being able to wake up. Thank you for this, the prana in this food that I'm eating this morning. Thank you for being able to go to the office and serve. Gratitude can become such a state of just being in every single moment. We are gratitude. And the wonderful thing about gratitude is that it allows us the space to be at peace, because there's nothing more we want. There's nothing more we need. We're perfect in this very moment. Everything is perfect. And from there, peace flows. There's no restlessness in gratitude. It just flows, and it embraces those around us that see that we don't have to have this going on or that going on in order to be at peace. We just need to live in gratitude. There are things that can block our gratitude also, and we have to be aware of these. They're insidious little things that sometimes maybe we don't notice. One of those things is a preconception of what we need to be grateful. I need this to be grateful. I need that to be grateful. I remember I spent 6 months in Assisi, and it was a wonderful time. I was very grateful for that time. I still am. And I didn't speak Italian. I didn't sing Italian. So I couldn't sing in the choir as I was used to doing. The Christmas concert, I couldn't sing in the Christmas concert. And Assisi, if you've been there, is a very busy place. Basically what they do is they teach and they meditate. They teach and it's a different form. At least when I was there, it wasn't like the village where there was all these other things going on, a market and a this and a that. You see people, they're either teaching or meditating or serving in the kitchen. Because I didn't speak Italian and I didn't sing Italian, obviously, I was not in the choir. And for the first time in many, many years, I didn't get to sing in the Christmas concert. I was serving in the kitchen. And it was nice because they had it piped in. And I was so sad. I was so used to singing. You know, when you're in choir, or when you chant. And Maitri, thank you for that beautiful chanting. Listen, listen, listen. I mean, that simple little chant just says it all, doesn't it? So you know how much joy you have in doing that. And I'm in the kitchen and I'm washing the dishes and serving that. And I just have this lump in my throat. I was so sad I don't get to sing. And I mean, there was nothing for it. But after a while, once I started moving my energy up a little and getting past this self-centeredness, I started tuning into the music from where I was. And it was so beautiful. And tuning into the fact that by being where Master wanted me to be, other people who could sing in the choir were able to do that because there were enough of us to do the other things that needed to be done. And so it just moved into a state of gratitude. And it was really one of a memory that sticks out for me very much. It was a large lesson because it was extremely painful there for a little while. And then I just was able to move out of it. And another thing that also sort of blocks our gratitude is taking for granted what we have. I was sitting in our living room here a while back, well, just recently, and there's this print on the wall. It's Maxfield Parrish print. It's called A Garden of Allah. I love Maxfield Parrish. I love many of his works, and Garden of Allah is an especially beautiful one. And I was looking at it. I was just contemplating the talk and being with you all. And then I really started to look at it. And I thought, how many days do I go by without noticing this print that I love so much, that gives me such joy? You know, there's joy in the heavens, a smile all around. All we have to do is just sit still for a moment and look around. And there's so much to be grateful for. It's amazing the things that we can find. And the more we cultivate those moments, which Master said are more important than the years, it's those moments. The more we cultivate them, the more we're able to move into that state of being, which is just so beautiful and so wonderful. And another obstacle is failing to embrace those challenges that come our way. Sometimes it's really hard. It's hard to embrace the challenge of trying to get that mic working. You just want it to work. Work now. Hurry up. We have people coming. This is our first day and here we are. But you know, that's Divine Mother giving us a little test, just seeing where we're at. Are we even-minded? Are we supporting each other? And we don't always rise to our tests in every moment, but that's okay. We're still moving. And because we have such elevated guru bhais, they understand. And we know that they're not going to hold us against us. We're going to move past this. And I'm not saying that happened this morning. You were all perfect saints, I'm sure. Even-minded the whole time. No fluffing of feathers or anything. But I wanted to read this. It kind of flows into this part of what I'm talking. This is one of my favorite quotes of Gyanamata. When we were in Sacramento, Tim and I would do a lot of the graphics when a lot of them were still, what did we used to call those graphics in the old days? That you kind of plucked on things.
Gifts and.
No, it was before that. But anyway,
I know what you're talking about.
we made this little, I don't know.
Clip art? Is it clip art? Is that what they call it? Clip
What was
art?
it?
Clip art?
Yeah.
Clip art. Yes, very good. Very good. Clip art. I was because I'm not artistic. I can't draw to save my life. So I loved clip art and loved doing all that. And we did the website in the early days. Tim set it all up. But this was something we made from a birthday of celebration of Gyanamata, who so many of us love her. She's along the lines of Sri Yukteswar, very stern outwardly, but you feel that heart. And she says, see nothing, look at nothing, but your goal ever shining before you. The things that happen to us do not matter. What we become through them does. Each day, accept everything as coming to you from God. At night, give everything back into his hands. Isn't that just so beautiful? It's just such a thing to meditate on. I highly recommend her book and the chapter on gratitude to God and Guru, especially as disciples of Master. She really put into words the attitudes we should have toward them and the gratitude we should feel for them and for what they've given us. We want to get our consciousness in alignment with theirs when things come up and we're just saying, I've asked for tests. I want to be tested. I want to get through this life. Can we have something else happen right now? Can we adjust this test just a bit much so it's more in my favor from the start? You know, and that's a real thing. But in the end, you look back and you're like, it was absolutely perfect. And if it was a really good test, it's something I'm still working on, you know, that moment, that memory. With gratitude, I mean, everything is opened to us. Doors are flung open when we have gratitude, because again, that state means we need nothing. We're open to everything, and abundance and joy and peace is ours. When we get our focus pulled off of gratitude or peace or joy, we just need to bring that needle back and make God and Guru the pole star of our lives. You know, there's that chant is really a beautiful one to chant for yourself if you have, and just over and over. Chanting is just so amazing. I could do a whole thing on that. Another person I was tuning into, as I often do, is Brother Lawrence, and Master mentioned him, and he was a Carmelite monk in Paris in the 1600s, and I'm sure many of you know his book, Practicing the Presence of God. And it's a deeply moving book of being in tune with God in every moment. The eulogy in the beginning is just amazing. I forget who was speaking at his funeral, but the way he described his life was just so beautifully uplifting. And Brother Lawrence had many sayings that we know, but one of the ones I really love is believe and count as lost all time that is not spent in loving God. Believe and count as lost all time that is not spent in loving God. And I've never looked at that as a severe admonition. I've looked at that as that's an opportunity that says every moment that I'm loving God is a miracle, is a gift, is the direction I want to go. I want to be doing my dishes, as Brother Lawrence did, thinking only of God. I want to wake up thinking of God, move through the day thinking of God. And it's a tall order. I remember years ago, Davy put this out to us to try to do this. I think maybe she was even referring to Brother Lawrence. You know, how long can we start thinking of God and how long can we keep it going? And she said she'd leave work, she'd be thinking of God. And by the time she got to the bend in the road, it'd be like all this other stuff going on. We just have to keep retraining ourselves and retraining ourselves. I have a feeling she's a little better these days. That was a lot of years ago. She's had a lot of practice. And yeah, I mean, it's every moment, every prayer is no different. As Brother Lawrence said, from the time of business, it can all be spent in loving God. And I want to just close with reading another, if I can find it. I think I might have lost it. Another, you know, these letters of Gyanamatas are just so beautiful. I know many people keep her on their nightstand and just fall asleep with her. It's a little long, but I think if we just take a moment to tune into it. I will seek thee. I will seek thee in the golden glow of the sunrise of my life. In the freshness of this hour, I will lay the opening buds of my devotion at thy feet. I will seek thee when the sun is at the zenith. I will make a garland glistening with the dewdrops of my tears, of my daily toil, cares, hopes, and aspirations, and lay it before thee upon the altar of my heart. I will seek thee every hour of every day and night until my restless heart finds rest in thee. I will seek thee when the sun is sinking in the west. Wayworn, I will kneel for thy touch of blessing, and rising will go forth with more than the courage of youth against the foes of ignorance, idleness, and forgetfulness of thee. I will seek thee in the evening when the last golden glow of the sun has died away. I will fix my eyes on the pole star of my life and will listen intently for thy pipes of peace to pipe me home. I am thine, O Lord. I will make myself worthy of thine acceptance. I will not make a burnt offering unto the Lord my God of that which doth cost me nothing. I will lay myself with all my prejudices and pettiness, with all the flesh holds dear, upon the burning pyre. I will lift my heart daily to Babaji, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswar, and my Guru Paramhansa Yoganandaji, asking for their many jeweled gifts of self-realization. In the stillness of night, out of the depth of my heart, I will cry, speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. When the call to disagreeable duty is sounded, I will answer, here I am, Lord, send me.
Very nice. Thank you.
Your turn.
That was good. My turn. Well, just thinking, you know, love is probably the most important emotion that we have. And fear is its polar opposite. And of course, these are heart qualities. And a cousin of that heart quality is gratitude. And gratitude for everything that comes to us. When the heart energy is pulled out into the world, that's where attachment arrives. And that's the other part of being grateful, is the non-attachment to what the world brings. The mind will see, that's my car, and that's okay. I'm sorry, the mind will see that as a car, and that's okay. The mind will see that's a beautiful car, and that's okay. But when the mind sees that as my car, that's when things seem to go awry. So to be able to pull that energy in and hold it deeply in your heart, and then from there, it channels up or it channels down. And by concentrating the point between the eyebrows and thinking of God, we're going to pull that energy up, and it's going to be rising in us. And God appreciates that. God wants to help us. And he won't help us if we're not thankful, grateful for the things that he's given us. If we just take it for granted that things are coming along, then why would he give us anything else? Why would you give somebody else if they never said thank you for what you gave them? You never said thank you for what was done to you from them. So thanking God all the time, keeping him in mind, as Lisa said, and thanking him for the blessings, the good and the bad. Short story, when I first got on the path, the reason I even got on the path is kind of a miracle, but I read in the Sacramento newspaper that Ananda was having a 20th anniversary and they were having a celebration on the 4th of July. So I came up to Ananda Village, not really knowing anything about Master, nothing about Swami, and kind of looking for a path, but not actively. And so I got up here and I got around these people and I thought, this is amazing. Started going to the center in Sacramento, was very grateful. Things just were moving correctly for me left and right. I just couldn't believe it. Fast forward a few months later, we started laying off people where I worked. I worked there for 15 years at the time, and they started laying people off, which was a blow to me. Thinking I had 15 years of seniority, thought I was safe, got laid off. Tried to find a job, things didn't work out for me. Came up to Ananda Village and took the program, discipleship program at the time. It was a month long up at the meditation retreat, with another month if you wanted to live in the village, but trying to find out where you could live. Well, if I hadn't had that layoff, if my company would have kept me on, I would have just stayed there. I would have never made the true commitment to Master and this path if it wasn't for that. And so that tragedy at the time, and I'll tell you, it was a tragedy at the time, turned into such a blessing, turned into such, oh my gosh, I couldn't have asked for anything more. And something I was really grateful for, and be able to come up here. So keeping that energy in the heart from going out and being attached, whatever comes of itself, let it come. And that's the lifelong lesson that we have. It's say yes to God doesn't mean every time somebody asks you to do a chore to toddle off and do it. Saying yes to God means you get slapped in the face, you offer the other side with non-attachment. You just have that grace to say, this is what you want, Lord. Something good will come up to it. And if you take that energy in the heart, and if you bring it up to the spiritual eye, if you give it to God, something great will happen. Guaranteed, guaranteed. It's a rule. You can't break that rule. It happens. So as we go into this Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday, I wish all of you a blessed time, family gatherings, spiritual family gatherings, and grow closer to God.
Thank you, both of you, so much for speaking so pertinent, to the holidays, pertinent to us being fairly new in this Sangha house. We're calling it the Ananda Sangha House. We're trying that out for a while. And of course, we're offering classes and everything, but you just kind of really spoke, I think, to us, to our hearts. Intuitively, the masters always allow that to happen, don't they? That you speak to us in that way. So we do want to ask online or here in person if anyone has any comments to Lisa and Tim, questions, whether about it's what they said, about this path, about their life in the village, which I know is so wonderful because I've seen it so many times, but everybody in this room has not been to the village. 25 times as some of us. So what are you, a real to the village?
Come for a visit.
Wait,
Oh, yeah.
oh,
We're coming in February.
wait, we encourage visits a lot. We already have in a renewal week. But what I'm have a beef or a vegetable with Master about is how many people have come through Ananda, Dallas for these last 29 years. And guess where they live now? The village. So he kind of puts the carrot here and they go through initiation. So I'll be talking to Master about that in person. I already have, but it's kind of a humorous thing.
He appreciates that. And he appreciates when we tell him how we feel about things, and doesn't mean we're going to get our way.
Oh, absolutely. No, I've watched too often. So we'll see about that. So let's, Mark, is there?
Before they ask questions that we're going to be coming off Facebook.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. So for those who may be online with us on Facebook Live, please go to our website, anandatexas.org, because we are going to drop Facebook, because now we're the family here. We're not so public, and we're just us chickens and us devotees talking, laughing, and really being even more casual, so we can do that. So Facebook people, thanks for coming. See you another time, but come online to our website now. So any questions in the chat, or how about people here?
I got one.
Oh, Maitri.
It was really beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And it's wonderful to, I'm going to look at the camera because I'm looking at the thing and then it doesn't seem like we're connecting so much. But because we haven't really, I mean, I've seen you guys around, but we've never actually really met, formally. So it was wonderful to hear you share. And, it's like Lisa was priming the pump, and then Tim came in and he's like, very laid back, and he's just like, and I'm okay. And then all of a sudden he's just like channeling Master in a big way, because what you described, Tim, you probably don't know this, is exactly what my dear beloved husband, and me being connected to him, is going through. He just left a big 23 years of working for Verizon and beelined it to the village. You guys may know that. He did the equivalent of what you did, the Living Discipleship Program as it stands now. And now came back into, the grandness of Asha's tour of Texas that we're all still recovering and integrating. But it just really touched. I know Supriya was like, oh, you listen to this Maitri. I can see her leaning and Mark's in the back going, smiling, and I got tears coming down my face. So I'm just thankful that you shared that with us and reminded us of this big unknown that, at least personally, that we're going through. And I'm very grateful for that. So thank you.
So questions,
There's a mic right
comments?
there. If anybody
Is that a live mic?
Yeah.
It can be as soon as somebody wants to ask a question, but we'll play past the mic.
And anybody online too.
Mike, what's the mic? Okay.
All right, we're going to Mike Wolverton here with a microphone.
I'm not sure. This cord looks a little bit on the short side.
And Mark will check shortly to see if there's anything privately in the chat to him.
Yes. Hold on just a second.
He wants to be on camera.
I think Mike is standing there to be on camera, so we're shifting.
Mike Wolverton. Hi. I said, we were doing something. I said, oh, there's Mike. And he said, I know Mike. He's a really sweet guy.
Thank you.
You
Thank
are.
I was so lucky I got to go up and retake pranayama class this time. And we've got a class here on it. You can probably see it on the website. But I was very interested in what you said about Gyanamata. And you talked about a chapter on Thanksgiving, on gratitude. And then I thought you mentioned another chapter also. Was it just the one on gratitude?
I think it was just the one on gratitude, and then the piece that I read from is at the somewhere in the back. I could send you that later. It's page 313 of it's in Meditations called I Will Seek Thee. But the chapter Gratitude to God and Guru is chapter 14, and it's just so rich with especially, but for any truth seeker, but for us specifically with attitudes of a great disciple and how we can cultivate those in ourselves. You know, she was so humble before him and so grateful in her quiet way, you know, there in the background, not teaching classes, not able to serve, as we know, physically in a lot of ways, but her love and devotion to him just inspired so many people. And Master said he never saw a look in her eyes that reflected anything but sweetness and kindness. The pain that the body experienced, she didn't reflect that on that vibrational level. And it's interesting because she had a lot of physical infirmities, and she didn't try to pretend like they weren't happening. Oh no, I'm fine. Oh no, everything's good. Nothing's painful today. She would say, this is what's happening, and now this is what I can do despite that. You know, so, but she didn't focus on it, but it's kind of like getting older, just in general. You know, we used to run around with so much energy, and now we have to sort of say, okay, now here's where I need to stop and do something else or take a rest. So she was very, very inspiring in that way.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, is this still live? So I just want to say I resonate with that very, very much, that Yanamata, as we get older, don't deny what's going on. And whether you're getting older or just having another physical or mental or emotional issue happening in your life, don't push it aside. Oh, I'm not a good devotee if I think about this and what energy can I put toward it? Yeah, don't dwell on it. So I love that about her and about what you just offered, Lisa, and you guys.
You know, it's fun because sometimes just in passing lightly, you'll say something to a guru of the same age, and they'll be like, I know what you mean. There's a little comfort in that, you know, it's not just me wimping out. You know, it's a real thing and other people feel it, and we just inspire each other to keep going and take care of ourselves and serve, take care of ourselves and serve. It's a very interesting time to find balance in that fashion, because we do want to serve. I mean, this is a path where, I mean, we've all experienced this. When new people come and they start putting away chairs, you're like, there's a keeper right there. You know, they know about service. They're helping out already. Reel them in. I do a lot of reeling in. You know? And I just saw Kim briefly. I've had emails with Kim. Hi, Kim. And so that was fun. It's fun to see friends that you've never met in person.
Yeah, can anyone else open cameras? There's Kim.
Hi, Lisa. Nice to see you too. Hey. Yeah, we meant to have a call together this month, and so we should schedule that sometime.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
Kim's in Austin, Texas, about 4 hours or so away. And some of us just went to Austin for the tour of Texas when Asha was there, but Kim was the host for Asha and Mayatri and Mark and Keshava. I mean, she just really stepped up to the plate there.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so much fun. We had a blast. It was just joy all the time.
Those events, you don't really notice any sort of tiredness or anything. The energy is just such a wave. And, you know, Asha's she's a little bit of a wave of energy. You know?
Oh, yes.
We all attest to that.
She is.
What a blessing. What a blessing. It's a joy to follow her travels and to see how many people they're touching. And Dambara, I mean, you know, music. I mean, he's just top drawer, and all the people who are helping in each place. Yeah.
And Dumbara came here to Dallas for the last week of the Asha tour. Keshiva had to go back to work, to his real life of teaching and working in the school. And then so Dumbara showed up the same day that Asha arrived from Austin and Dallas, and boom, it all started. Every day we had an event. It was absolutely wonderful. And and a huge blessing, of course. But let's see. I want to open this up to others online. Mark, are there any questions in the chat or comments? People, you're certainly welcome to put it in the chat. And if not, I'm gonna ask. Well, why? Okay, let's see if anything else comes in. But Lisa, Tim, tell us a little bit about your life there at the village, because I mean, I know that you're in charge of the managing of the Temple of Light, and that in itself is huge. And then you have other responsibilities. What's a day? So wake up, and I bet Sadhana's pretty close there, and then.
Ooh, well, every day is different because it's just the way it is for us. There are people at the market or the expanding light or at the Sangha who their day is, I arrive at this time and I leave at that time. At this point, for Tim and I, it's been pretty fluid, especially now with me serving at the Sangha. Tim has taken more on at the temple, and we both sort of used to wrap our arms around that, and he's deals more with the outer, and I still keep the calendar, and I'm the communicator and this and that. You know, the temple is, of course, such a joy for both of us. It's we started actually with it at the 50th anniversary with coordinating a lot of what was going on in the temple. And it was just so wonderful to have so many people come from everywhere. And we would look at each other through the week and think, what are we going to do when all these people leave? I mean, it's just, you know, how's the energy going to flow? And it has never diminished, ever. It feels like ever new joy every time you walk in there. And we don't really have a staff. We have Tim had someone helping him in the garden. He's a gardener, but they moved on to something else now. And since it's winter, it's not a real pressing need, I think. Mm-hmm. But we still have 4 people who help us in the temple with the upkeep. They all serve once a week, and we're so grateful for them because what they do really helps. But we try to be at every event necessary. We're there every Sunday. And we even plan our getaways. Okay, we'll leave on Monday because Sunday, and then we'll come back on Saturday. Not all the time. I mean, we were just in France for a while, as you may know. But every event, we try to be there so that there always are, if there's questions or we need to set up things on the dais. And then Tim works with the tech team a lot. We go in and, you know, we're a mom and pop type. So we go in, make sure everybody has what they need. If there's anything we can do, make sure everything's fluffed and looking good. When the pandemic came and we shut down, it was really interesting because nobody was at Sunday services, and we hadn't really got a lot of steam around classes and such, but it was just us. It was Bhaktan on video and Christian on sound, and then whoever was talking. So it was very odd at first, but it was very lovely too. And maybe this is an overshare because it really is just a joke. But when we started to open up again, we all looked at each other and went, "Oh, now there's going to be people here. We're going to have questions. They're going to get underfoot. We got our flow going. Just stay home." Yeah. But really, we were very grateful to have people there. It is always a joy to serve and to have, I mean, even not going into a new place every week, there's some sort of thing, you know, a lot of times it, you know, you just have to deal with in the last minute. And for Tim and I, you know, it's our role at the temple is more vibrational. You know, you do the upkeep and you do the calendar and, you know, this and that and the other. But for us, again, it's making sure the team is happy back there, the tech team, and they have everything they need. And for the musicians, I mean, they're all very self-sufficient. They don't really need us that much, but they know we're there. You know, Tim has gotten in this habit. I'm the baker in the family, and now he's taken over my role with them people in the tech room, because now he brings cookies every week. See, we like to bake, but we like to share it so we don't eat all the profits, you know. It's not good for us. And I'm like, I think people, yesterday or day before, I said to him, I said, I think people are forgetting that I bake too, because you're always elbowing me out of the kitchen and taking them cookies. But, you know, it's just those little things we look after to try to elevate, keep the energy high. And unfortunately, they're great souls back there. They're wonderful to serve with. And in the beginning, when we were still finding our footing, especially me being such a mama, you know, if I you know, push too hard, they'd let me know, get back in your lane, Lisa. And just, you know, we don't need you to fuss over this or fuss over that, you know. So again, it's just vibrational, just being there, being available, being peaceful, not being rushed. And then at the Sangha, it's just wonderful for me to serve in a different way. The people there are wonderful. It's a beehive. But I try to make sure that I don't, you know, it's easy anywhere to get caught up in busyness, you know, and get like this morning was for you, I'm sure. And I try not to let that happen for me in the Sangha, because it would be so easy to just kind of get caught up. So if someone has a question or someone just wants to chat, which I love, because I just stop what I'm doing, unless I'm on the phone or something. And I'm just like, yes, I'm always available. Let's connect. Because to me, those inward connections just set the focus for our day. A lot of times it's at the beginning of the day, especially on Monday. I just try to you know, just make a conscious hello and how are you? How are you doing? How's your week? Before we get into our stuff. And always never try to get impatient if we're busy. Of course, I think my job there is pretty mellow compared to everyone else's. And I can work from home a lot. And sometimes it can get really busy there, and, you know, to just let people be busy, and they do it joyfully. And so, you know, there's little things we do, you know, when you, as I mentioned before, when you live at the village, there's always a lot to do. There's your official jobs. And then there's, you know, the EL needed some help these past couple weeks because there were a couple people away, and it was all going to be dropped on Sundara to do pretty much everything. So they put the call out to the community. People are serving. We did a couple days going over in the evening and washing dishes in the kitchen. You know, there's meal trains, there's setup for this event or that event. There's just so many little sweet things that any community can do for each other. I really encourage you. I mean, you're all old hands. Maybe I, you know, being too mommy-like again, but just look after each other. Look after each other, support each other, give each other, you know, sometimes someone will be, what is a friend of mine here says, frosty around the edges, you know, and, you know, give them the space to do that. You know, that's okay. They've earned, you know, your trust and your love. Give them space to be frosty. And we try not to react to that, because then it just generates more and creates a rift. You know, it's like, okay, they're in a bad mood, or yeah, they snapped at me or whatever. You know, starting up again, there's going to be challenges, you know, figuring out, just like when we opened up here. What are we doing? How are we doing it? How is this all flowing together? Give each other, check in with each other. It doesn't have to be, and it certainly wouldn't be sanctioned by Yukteswar Gyanamata or Master. Oh, you poor little baby. You know, how can I support your sadness? But just let each other express, be there for each other, bring each other a candy bar once in a while, you know, just little things that show your gratitude for each other. You have such a strong group there. You have such a strong and beautiful group that you are really a blessing to behold. You truly are. And just, that's a lot of energy. That's a big job. And you already know that, but don't forget it in the moments. And at the end of the day, read that little thing by Gyana Mata. Just give everything back into her hands. Okay, I blew it. I could have done it better. And tomorrow I will. Tomorrow I will serve everyone better. And we just keep moving forward. I just went on and on. I'm just sorry. Would you like a turn to
That's okay.
You know, it reminds me of years ago. Asha was giving service with somebody. They were doing the festival. And she noticed after a while that she was doing the whole thing. And she said afterwards to them, she said, what happened there? And they said, I don't know. I took a breath and you just started talking. That's why we love Asha.
No, that's great. And that was perfect.
You want to
So
talk
I
about
know, you know,
Is there anything left to say?
I think all the work is done. No, my day, the day starts here, going to the temple. I usually leave about 10 after 6 to get there for morning meditation, and then come back here, have some breakfast, and then it's off to the duties. I mean, I could talk about, sweeping and blowing and vacuuming and, heading to the restroom, which are the things that keep it down, or trying to figure out the new light design, because everybody has shadows all over their face. Mark, I'm sure you've noticed it, and it's really distracting for me, and it might be for you too. So we're getting ready to do that. So little things like that, but it's basically, for me anyway, it's just, chopping wood and carrying water, just over and over again, and just rinse and repeat day after day. It sounds boring, and it sounds like there's not a lot to do, but there is a lot to do, because like Lisa said, there's interactions with other Guru Bhais, and you run up against them and it's a smooth, beautiful interaction, and you run up against them and it's grating. And it can happen. And those grating times are just as much of a blessing as the happy times. And you just got to look at it that way, is that it's rocks beating onto rocks. And sooner or later, we're all going to be smooth as a baby's bottom, as my grandmother used to say, and move forward. So nothing special, exciting that, I think anybody's really interested in. It's just making it work, doing what needs to happen at the time. And like Lisa said, there's always somebody that needs something, and they're minor, and you just keep serving, and keep your consciousness high, keep your attitude good.
And be grateful for those who are doing the same thing. Be ever grateful that, when you're having a less than exalted day, the examples are still there around you of people holding that light for you. That's what our Guru Bhais really excel at.
Yep, and that is the beauty of, and we realize that here in Texas, of our community here. When we're having a bad day, hopefully the other, 14 people are having a decent day, and then we all just shift and support each other and show up to do seva, because we know that this path is about. Serve God and gurus, and by doing that, you're serving the world and each other, and by doing that, we keep the vibration of our community, of our Sangha house high, and we're certainly doing that, gathering more and more now. So thank you guys so much. And I can't even see what time it is, but I have a feeling it's almost your time to, it is, okay, so it's 10:02
We're
your
fine.
time.
If there's any questions, we're here. If not, that's okay too.
Well, I'm sure the Temple of Light and the service that is about to start there, or is starting, you let them know you weren't coming, and none of us are indispensable, and they took care of it, and now you are going to go over there and be there and available, and that's it. Being available for Guru Bhais and for whatever's trying to happen in the space, in the temple, in this house here, being available and offering to serve. It's just, we are so blessed to have this Ananda, Texas. So
I wanted to mention one last thing before we go to you, Lisa. Asha's energy was big and huge for us. And like I said, we're still integrating it all. But one of the blessings that seems to be starting to happen is that we may have a Houston meditation group starting to bud. 3 of them are actually meeting today. They weren't, I don't know, when I communicated with them, they didn't realize we were having you guys on at the time. And so they'd already made plans to meet in Houston. But I am passing on your information to them after they have their meeting to see what transpires. But that all came it's something we've wanted, we were hoping for, because we've had these people in different places in Houston over the years, and it's never really gelled. But then through the many different events that we had when Asha was here, there were some connections made, and for the first time, they're having a little gathering. So we'll all keep them in our prayers, and hopefully you'll hear more about that. But I just wanted to let you know about that.
That's wonderful. Texas with your big hearts, you're just doing it. Just
I was
doing it.
thinking of something that Sophia was talking about, all the people that come to the village from Texas. And, it is said you can judge the tree by the fruit. And obviously this tree is pretty strong and pretty blessed.
Mhm, mhm. He means your tree, not our tree.
We got it.
We are very blessed. So any last minute open cameras, comments, just unmic yourself if you're online or here that you want to offer to Tim and Lisa, our mom and pop of the Temple of Light. And we are so appreciative of that because it's an incredibly beautiful, not only physical space, but energy as well. So, and I hope everyone very soon can enter those doors if you haven't recently. It's time. The pandemic is opening up, and we can go visit now. I've already visited in May, and I'm going again, and we have other people in a renewal week who are coming.
Yes.
And
You're
there's
so
many-
humbled.
Go ahead.
Oh, me? Oh, I was just going to say, we're so humbled to be with you here on this first day in your new space. We're so grateful for your friendship, and just look forward to many more satsangs with you, hopefully in the future, and to seeing your faces in person. I saw Mark briefly at Kriya. He was in silence, and I just would love to get to know Mayatri and Mark more. Just such a beautiful energy. We're always up for lunch at the EL when people come to just give us some notice. And we just enjoy you so much, so very much.
So I think Mark needs to at least come out in camera. He's over there with the headphones on. Come on
Tim
out here.
can see what he looks like.
Just to say goodbye, Mark, because we're going to do that and let you go to your service now. And thank you so much for coming online with us. And Mark is coming over here. Just come. He's looking
Come
back.
on, Mark.
To figure out where I'm on camera, it's like.
Oh, I
Down,
see. Down. There he is.
Yes.
I've just been given some more seva to do, so I'm gonna go put the bread in.
Because now we're going to have lunch and then we have a board meeting. So we have a lot going on always, as you do, just on a little bit smaller scale. So, there's Randy Friend coming in. Let's at least give him a moment to see you. Randy just popped in because I know he has some pre-Sunday morning gatherings with family. And as soon as he's done, he pops on and there he is. So we probably won't see his face, but Randy.
Hello, Randy.
Yep, he says hi in the chat. Yeah.
Much love to all of you.
Thank you. And we typically end our Texas Satsangs with our guests by saying, Namaste, y'all.
Namaste, y'all.
Namaste,
We'll
y'all.
see you next time.
We'll be in touch.